Still going through the offseason. Now we're focusing on Marcus Smart. A lot of you people say trade him. I'm saying they misused him. Use him more. It's all right now on the Locked On Celtics podcast.
Be ever ready. Recognize the city of champs. Boston, baby, we do what you can't. Locked on number 18, Tatum and Brown, J-team, step back. We gon' wet that and slay teams. Of course the Celtics, who else could it be? Screaming like KG with the Larry O.B. Karalis above average, assessing the team status. Best daily pod, no cap salary matching. Clutch like Bird the DJ, keep John on replay. Prime time, dapping up the truth on the sideline. Raining J's, how it started, raising banners, how we finished. Locked on Celtics pod, home of the winners. B.
Hey there, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day, and I'm here for you every Monday through Friday with a free, fresh podcast dropped directly to your device. So subscribe, open up your favorite podcasting app, get the show as soon as it drops. Hop onto the YouTube channel if you prefer to watch the show. I'd love it if you did. You can jump into the comment section there and let me know what you think. A few of you did let me know what you thought of yesterday's show. I'm going to just jump off right here and just say I apologize for the quality of yesterday's show. It was my 2 for 16 shooting night. So it happens. I apologize. There'll be plenty more Jaylen Brown discussion for me to make up for it as this offseason progresses. So sorry about that. I'm John Karalis. I used to play once upon a time. Now I cover the Celtics for Boston Sports Journal. And today's show is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Today's show is all about Marcus Smart. And today's show also includes my buddy, Tom Westerholm. What is up, Tommy _NBA?
What is up? I'm doing well, man. How are you?
I'm great. We're ready to head into the weekend. This is the Friday podcast. We're, just enjoying a nice mid-June. Now that basketball is completely over, I got to do my crash course for the draft. And it's a good time.
This is the first year in a while that I have to do a crash course for the draft too. This was not like my
that is surprising for you.
I know, man. I know. I was off my game this year from a scouting perspective. So I'm honestly, it's kind of fun to try to catch up the way that every other beat writer usually tries to catch up. I was like, let me watch a little YouTube. I think I got this.
So this when Ben
this guy's name is Scoot. This guy's name is Scoot. Draft him number 1.
Scoot. I need a Scoot on my team.
Scoot on my team. Yeah.
Why aren't people talking about these individuals?
Yeah, I haven't heard a word about them all year.
This is crazy. This guy is huge. He is very good. Why isn't there anybody talking about
dribble?
Yeah. All right, let's talk about the one guy in the Boston Celtics who really can dribble, and it's Marcus. Yes. This is Marcus Smart's season in review, and Marcus Smart remains polarizing. Remains the and we get into fights over it. I am pro Marcus Smart. I remain pro Marcus Smart, and understanding that he is now starting to get to the close to aging out. Like he's going to start. He takes such a beating and all of that it's in part of when we go later to talk about trading or keeping in the long-term plan. I get that at some point Marcus Smart's time is going to be up. I just continue to think that he's misused. So let's look at his stats over the course of the season. 11 and a half points for him. Just another typically not great shooting season. 41.5%, 33.6% from three. He said it after the game 7 loss. I'm going to go try to work on my shot and try to be what these guys need me to be. So I think this is the one season where I might be having a tough time like fully grasping exactly what his full impact was, Tom, because I think this was like two seasons kind of rolled into one. There was the first couple months of the season, the October, November, December, up until that point, that flashpoint of Robert Williams returns. They're playing the Warriors. They lose to the Warriors on the road, and everything starts to sort of crumble after that, and they were never quite the same team. Prior to that, Marcus Smart was awesome. November, he averaged 8.2 assists per game. December, he was averaging 7 assists per game. He was shooting fewer three-pointers. His percentages were way up. It looked great. And then you have the January, February, March, where he's averaging somewhere in the February 3.5 assists, March 4.7, April just I'm not going to count April. It's one game. It's like 2 separate seasons for him. So did he have a good season? Did he have a bad season? Yes. And yes, like he had a good season and a bad season, both at the same time, one after another.
Yeah. And I mean, I think early in the season, one of the things we saw often was just how focused he was on distributing. And we've talked about it a lot on the pod. Like, it's been something you've really been harping on, is like when he's, and I suspect I'm getting into a point that you're going to get into later, but when he's a passer, he's awesome. And like, right.
Mm-hmm.
When that's his primary role, when he's a point guard, he's really good at it. He's really good at distributing. He's really good at kind of doing that point guard thing that we talk about it when this guy hasn't gotten a shot in a little bit. All right, let me get him a shot. This guy hasn't gotten a shot in a little bit. Okay. Jaylen's calling for the ball, but I haven't gotten this guy. I'm going to wave Jaylen off for a second and, find the guy cutting to the hoop, like whatever it might be. Like, Smart's really good at that stuff. And then, the thing, I mean, it's just, honestly, it's great that he's going to go work on his shot. I don't doubt that Marcus Smart works hard during the offseason, but it's just like at some point, like, you just kind of are what you are as a shooter. And like, we've gotten this far in his career, and he's been a unbelievably impactful, useful, helpful player throughout his career who just isn't that great a shooter. And he's improved, right? Like, I mean, there was a time when he was the worst shooter by volume in NBA history, right?
Yeah.
Like, he was taking a ton of shots and was just awful at them.
Yeah.
And he's gotten a lot better from there, right? Like, when the ball's moving around the perimeter and Smart's involved, it's not out of the question that he's going to make the shot. Like, guys have to close out on him, he'll make some shots from time to time. And like you said, it's not like he shot 25%. He shot 33%. Not great. Could be worse.
Could be a lot worse, right?
Could be a lot worse.
Could be when he shot 28% from three.
Yeah. I didn't pull the 20s out of nowhere. Like, he's shot in the 20s before. But yeah, like, and so it's great that he's going to work on his shot. But I'm kind of with you on it, where it's like, okay, so the defense slipped this year, and that was somewhat due to injuries. Like, no question. You look at cleaning the glass. He was, I believe the defense was a little bit over 3 points per 100 possessions worse with him on the floor this year. And like, those stats have never been super kind to him. It's more like you kind of see the impact schematically in what he does. But man, it's like a little bit of a defensive slip this year. He certainly wasn't the defensive player of the year this year. He wasn't the best defender on the team this season. And when you just kind of add all that stuff up, it's like, I still think Marcus Smart is an unbelievably useful player, but this was kind of a weird, tough season for him. And I don't think it's all his fault, and I don't think he was always used correctly, but I also just don't think that, he was as good as he has been in previous seasons.
I'll just make the obvious parallel here. When the focus early on in the season was playing with pace, moving the ball, whipping it around, Marcus Smart was awesome.
Yeah.
When the focus turned to like super heavy 3-point shooting, it was like, I don't know when. It's not like they began the season just so focused on the 3-point shooting. I think they began the season just moving the ball around, and I think a lot of the threes came organically. Then when things started to crumble a little bit, they really, really, really seemed to put a heavy focus on 3-point shooting. And yeah, that's kind of where Marcus's offense kind of struggled a little bit. Like, no kidding. You're focusing on the worst part of his game.
Right.
So, what do you expect to happen with Marcus Smart out there? And because we mentioned this with Malcolm Brogdon, because Brogdon never really quite fit with Tatum and Brown, you had to keep, and not only that, because Brogdon wasn't quite the defender that they had hoped that he would be. Like, I'm not saying he was bad, but he wasn't the defender that they had hoped, right? Like they had hoped,
for sure not.
Right. Yep. So you needed to go with some kind of hybrid. Okay, we're going to sacrifice some of the shooting and hope that you just get Marcus in the corners. But he's a better defensive player despite his deficiencies this season. Still a better defensive player than Malcolm Brogdon was, I think, easily.
Yeah.
So it was, again, it's a disservice to Marcus Smart because once again, we're at a point of how was Marcus Smart used? And that's going to be what we continue to talk about when we come back. First, today's show is brought to you by Birddogs. Birddogs stretch khaki shorts are designed to fit slimmer through the thigh. That gives your leg, gentlemen, that truly sculpted look that you're looking for. Hey, let's be real here. It's barbecue season. You're going to be going into some backyards. You want to show those legs off. You want people to be like, oh, damn, look at you. You've been doing some squats or something? No, those Birddogs are going to show off those legs. They fit better than regular shorts that are made of stiff, restricting cotton. And this anti-stink, sweat-wicking fabric keeps you cool and dry all day. Hell, at that party, you can jump into the pool and come back out and dry off and still look stylish. That's what these things can do. They're great. They look great. And if you go to birddogs.com/LockedOnNBA, you can get a free Yeti-style tumbler with your order. That's birddogs.com/LockedOnNBA for a free Yeti-style tumbler. So you look good, you feel good, and you get a nice cold drink. I mean, maybe I'm telling myself on a little bit where I first go to a cold drink in the tumbler. But what are you going to drink? A coffee at that party? No. You're going to be traveling around. You want to keep that drink cold. Go to birddogs.com/LockedOnNBA. Get yourself some really cool shorts, some really nice shorts, and get that Yeti-style tumbler. You will not want to take off these shorts. I want to thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. You know what we've got on the Locked On Podcast Network right now? Our mock draft special. It's here, and it's bigger than ever. Follow along with the entire first round in a 6-episode ultimate mock draft experience. Only Locked On can deliver. All episodes, every single one, are available right now. They're all available on the Locked On NBA Big Board feed on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Let's bring Tom back in. Let's continue our conversation about Marcus Smart. And Tom, I'm sick of talking about how Smart is used. And this plays into the trade or keep conversation. People in the comments are going to be full. Comments right now in this podcast are going to be crushed with trade Marcus. No, you're an idiot. No, you're an idiot. Because it depends on kind of almost like when are you paying attention to what Marcus is doing? Are you paying attention to him being a point guard? Then great. Then you probably like me, you say like that's the guy. He's fine as a point guard. He's actually pretty good as a point guard. When he's not used properly and he's shooting too much and he's standing in the corners and he's your floor spacer, that's a problem. We said that coming into the season. Here, I got a few different stats, but here's one that really bugs me. Smart passes per game during the regular season. 45.1 passes per game. In the playoffs, it drops to 39.5. Jayson Tatum passes during the regular season, 45.4. In the playoffs, it jumps to 50.8. So the passes go from Marcus Smart's hands to Jayson Tatum's hands. The offense runs through Tatum over and over and over again. Now, we said this in the Tatum podcast. I've said it, I think, in the Jaylen podcast. I'll say it in every podcast, probably. Moving Smart off the ball and running the offense through Jayson Tatum. Every once in a while, obviously, sure, you want to vary your offense, and he's your best player, and you want to run some offense through him, obviously. But that's all the Celtics do. That's all they do in the playoffs. It runs through Jayson, and after that, Jaylen, and then after that, maybe Marcus. But I cannot stand the Celtics getting away from their point guard doing point guard things. And it unless they either move off of Marcus and just say, we're going to go with that shooter, and that point guard is going to essentially be a shooting guard. Either you just do that.
Right.
Or if you're going to keep Marcus Smart, use him the right way and run your offense through your point guard, who is actually capable of getting you 8 assists per game and maybe more if you ran it through him more, can get you high assist games, can run your offense, can occasionally hit the shot, but mostly he can run that offense. He can get deep into the paint. He can post up. He can hit that little, fade away in the lane. Very effective with that. He's the only guy that can consistently hit Robert Williams on rolls. He hits Jaylen Brown on those cuts. You see the impact that he has. Either commit to that or commit to the other thing. But stop messing with them. Stop messing with him. Stop messing with us. Pick a lane.
Yeah, and I honestly think the weird thing is that either lane works, right? Like you said, I mean, you've made the case 100 times, and I think correctly that, like, yeah, I mean, if you don't misuse Smart. Like there's a thing that he's good at. Like let him do the thing that he's good at, because it's, presumably as a good point guard, he's going to make everybody else better too. The other option works too. Derek White's really good. Derek White can play off the ball whenever you need him to. Like that. Like if that's the route you decide to go, then that works just as well. I feel like, then you've got a guy who can hit threes. At least he did this year. And I mean, I think it looks to me like the improvements were real. I'm sure you'll get to that on the Derek White pod. But then with Smart, it's like, but it's tied together, right? Because they have the guy who they should be using the way they're using Marcus Smart, and then they also have Marcus Smart. So it's like, yeah, I think it really is as simple as that. And what's interesting to me is this was the first year. There have been a bunch of seasons where I've been like, I mean, like, what are we doing here? Why would they trade Marcus Smart? This is stupid. He's like, big part of the fabric of the team. This was the first year where it was like, okay, now you've given yourself such crazy guard depth that you have to have the conversation about each one of them, frankly. I mean, maybe less so White. He's just so versatile. But like, certainly Brogdon, and I guess, Smart too. Like you can start to have the conversation now of like, okay, like what direction should they go there? And, I don't think there's an easy answer. And I don't think, that the Celtics are going to have a particularly easy time with it this offseason. But like, one way or the other, I mean, yeah, I think it's lane picking time. Like you can't kind of keep coasting in between the two like this.
I feel like every one of these podcasts just brings me right back to the more you run your offense through Tatum, the more you're giving the defense exactly what it wants. If you're coaching against the Celtics and you're saying, okay, who's the guy I really need to take away? The number one guy you want to take away is Jayson Tatum, right? Like he's their best player. And you say, okay, let's try to.
Yeah. We saw in Game 7 that an ankle injury takes away Jayson Tatum. There you go.
There you go. Right. And because they run everything through him, all of a sudden the rest of the team starts to lose confidence. In it should normally be, okay, Tatum's hurt. We're going to use him. Okay, we're not going to play him. He's not going to. We're not going to play him. On the wing where he's got to drive and pass and cut. Let's try to like run some post ups for him. Let's put him in a spot where he's dangerous. Let's play him like Al Horford. Let's have him spot up. Let's just shift this and say Tatum's not really mobile. Let's have him spot up, and we can just run our offense through Marcus and have let's use Tatum as a pick setter, and he's still dangerous, and he can set picks for Jaylen Brown off the ball, and you can read how that's being switched, and somebody can dive, and Smart, because he's a great passer, can find the guy who slipped the screen because he can read it as fast as anybody, and boom, there's your bucket. To me, that's how it should go. But because it goes through Jayson Tatum's hands all the time now, he has to, if he doesn't have the ball, everyone else is like, oh God, what do we do? The one guy who our entire offense runs through is down, and we don't know how to react anymore. It's been kind of like beaten out of them. They don't have the confidence to do it. They don't have the reps to do it. I just feel like there's an obvious answer here, and it includes more variety in the offense. It includes having a point guard who can distribute, and that guy is Marcus Smart. He is your best distributing point guard. Derek White has, he can drive, and sure, he can drive and kick, but he's not your distributing point guard.
Yeah, he's not.
He's right. He's going to hit some floaters. He's going to hit some threes. He's become a great shooter. Malcolm Brogdon is more of a distributor than Derek White, but wasn't really much of a distributor over the course of this. So there's,
and neither of them are close to Smart.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So as always, how he's used is at the heart of how well he plays. And he's not so good that you can just plug him into anything. He has a very specific skill set and on offense, and his true value is the defensive side of the ball, what he can do there. And if that comes back and he's like, I don't know, he his hip or his whatever it was that was bugging him, he kept going to that all season long. If that gets better and he can come back and be healthy and get back to somewhat of what he used to be defensively, using him that specific way on offense makes him a valuable player. It's as simple as that. There are a couple more stats that come into when we continue the discussion of trade or keep Marcus Smart. Well, whoops, that is not the look. There we go. Sorry. I'm learning the buttons here. Okay. I'm learning the buttons here for people on YouTube. We're going to talk about that next. First, today's show brought to you by Gametime. You want last minute tickets to something to do this weekend? Maybe you didn't plan ahead to some show, or you didn't realize some show was going to be in town, or you didn't realize some concert was going on. You're like, oh man, I want to go to that. Gametime app. Boom. Last minute tickets, the best price. Their lowest price guarantee gives you, if you get the same seat in the same section, same row for less, you get 110% of the difference. So you make sure you're getting the lowest price. You got cancellation protection in case the event gets canceled for some reason. Job loss protection. It's all there. It's an easy way to find and buy tickets for every kind of event. It's not just sports. It's music, comedy, theater, all of that stuff. You can get images of your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you get there and sit down. You know exactly the view that you're going to get, and you can buy these tickets in a matter of seconds. 2 taps, you're all set, and it gets sent directly to your phone, so you're not that person scrolling through the email because you forgot to, holding up the line. We all don't like that person. Don't be that person. Use the Gametime app. It goes directly to your phone. Snag the tickets without the stress with Gametime. Download the Gametime app. Create an account. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA. You'll get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. I want to invite you back next week. We'll have another full Monday through Friday week of podcasts. Monday through Friday, all month long. We're going to start to focus on the draft a little bit more. Monday through Friday, all through July. So it is a daily podcast. Make sure you are subscribed. Tom, trade or keep Marcus Smart? We're having the discussion here. It seems like they're at a spot, especially with this new CBA, that one of the 3 guards is probably going to go. Maybe not. Doesn't have to go, but they're going to have to make a decision. They're all making close to the same money. White and Smart are in the $18 million range. Brogdon's at 22. Where are you landing here on Smart staying or going?
I would lean toward stay. Like keep him. I would lean toward keep him. Trade Brogdon, I think. I mean, pencil me in. Don't write this in pen, because like It's hard, man. Like these guys, I mean, this would be the case between any three players plucked out of the NBA at random, that they like all have very different like skill sets, right? But like I just think like Smart brings a bunch of stuff that the Celtics just don't really have elsewhere. Like if you're trading Marcus Smart, I feel like something has to be coming in that gives the thing that he gives. And that's hard, man. Like, and I mean, especially from a point guard positions and somebody who's been playing with these guys for a long time, somebody who's developed, chemistry with these guys for a long time. To me, Smart's tough to trade from that perspective. And I mean, I think the world of Derek White. I would not trade him under any circumstances. I think I've established myself pretty clearly on the Derek White bandwagon. But it's just like like even with the 3-point shooting struggles, even with all of that stuff, it's just like where else are you getting what Smart brings to the table? And if your idea is to replace at like just the ball handling part of him, fine. Like if that's what it is, that's fine. But like the other stuff that's going to be taken off the table when you take Marcus Smart off the table is going to be significant. Like it's going to be hard to replace that. I don't think Marcus Smart is a perfect basketball player. I don't think that he's completely untradeable by any stretch of the imagination.
Sure.
But I do think that it's just going to be so hard to replace him on this team for the role that they have, that it's like, I just think if you're the Celtics, you got to start looking elsewhere. I don't think that's your guy. I do think it's your guy. I don't think it's your guy to deal.
Yeah. I feel like there are so many unanswered questions about Joe Mazzulla going into his second year that I don't know.
That's true.
That's very true, right?
Yeah.
I think that Mazzulla, because of his heavy 3-point focus, turned Brogdon into more of a shooter than anybody expected him to be. And he shot very, very well, so he kept doing it. And they just kept using him in that way. And I just feel like if the focus was a little bit different, then maybe Brogdon would have played differently. And I don't know. I can't say for sure what the case would be, because we only have the 1 year of Joe and the 1 year of Brogdon, and the 1 year of all of these guys with Joe's. It's a very difficult kind of position to be in. Organizationally, what are they pushing on Joe Mazzulla? They clearly, I don't think Joe Mazzulla went to Brad Stevens and said, "Ooh, hey, Sam Cassell is available." I think Brad Stevens went to Joe Mazzulla and said, "Hey, I got a name for you, Sam Cassell." You know what I mean? Joe, yeah. Sam's like, Joe's like, okay, I'll consider them. Like, no. They're here.
Oh no, Sam's in the other room. He just signed his contract. He's coming in to shake your hand right now.
Yeah. He's got your parking spot from last season. Yeah. No. But I think that there is a lot that, if we're being fair, there's so many questions. Because we have only the 1 year, and because he's so young, and because he's so new, and because he got the job days before the season started, and maybe he just said, all I know is 3-pointers win games. I'm just going to lean as heavily into this as possible. And when I have a plan to put together for over the summer, maybe Joe can sit there and be like, okay, the 3-point thing is not exactly the way I want to go here. The issue is, I shouldn't phrase that as the issue. I think that Joe puts on a certain face with the media, and that's a front. And I don't know how much of that he really believes. It's something that he sells, and he wants us to believe it, and he wants fans to believe it. If he's going to stick with this shooting thing, which I'm not, and all of that was to say that I'm not sure if he's going to stick with that.
Right.
If he does, then there are questions about whether Marcus Smart should stick around.
Yeah.
Because his style of play suddenly is less important to Boston. If you're not going to focus on the defense the same way, And if your focus is going to be on having everybody out there being 39% 3-point shooters or better, then either Smart moves to the bench or he's gone. If they're going to come back next season with the focus the way I think it's supposed to be, which was the start of the season, then you got to keep Marcus Smart. Because last season, here's a stat that I want to put out there. Last season, regular season, the Celtics got out into transition 13.8% of the time. Marcus Smart got into transition 14.6% of the time. So he pushed the pace more than the team was normally willing to go. You take that 14 point, that extra percentage out, and that drops, below 13 or somewhere around 13%, whatever the math is. Yeah. But whatever it is,
he drags the number up.
Smart pushed the pace more than other people. Other people wanted to slow the game down. I want Smart out there pushing the pace, distributing. He is a pass-first guy. Despite all of the shooting, I think the shooting is because of the position that he's put in. I think he wants to be a pass-first guy, and I think the numbers bear that out when you look at November and his 8.2 assists and his 9.2 field goals, where only 4.6 of them were three-pointers. Then at the end of the season, he was up over 10 field goals, and half of those were three-pointers. In March, in 15 games in March, 6.3 of those were three-pointers. And that's not because Marcus Smart thinks he's Steph Curry. Right. No, Marcus Smart clearly knows he's not Steph Curry because he said after the season, I got to work on my shot some more. It's because they use him wrong. So either use him right or demote him / trade him. And I'd prefer to keep him and play the style of play that he's very good at.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's reasonable. I think, to your point, just to back up slightly to your point about Mazzulla, I also think that he puts on that front for the players too, because you can't really be wishy-washy with we're going all in on 3-point shooting, and then tell people, well, I'm kind of only doing this because Ime kind of screwed us all over, and then the players are like, okay, I'm to work. I'm gonna start freelancing now. Thank you very much, Joe, for all you've done. So yeah, no, I think it is reasonable to think that hey, there might be something different coming down the pike. And if it does, if there is a chance for him to put a whole philosophy into place that isn't just efficiency seems good, maybe we should do efficiency. If there's a little bit more to it than that, I do think that there's a real chance for Smart to excel. And I think, I don't know, man. I think we're on the same page here. It's just it's just going to be hard to replace all that stuff. And if it's hard to replace it, keep him around, because there's going to be plenty of challenges from a roster building perspective coming up for this team. So trading Marcus Smart and getting back something that helps you that even gives you 85% of what Smart does is going to be tricky, really tricky. So just hit the single here, keep him and hit the single.
Yeah, I agree.
Keep the ducks on the pond.
That's right. So I know plenty of people in the comment section going to be like, no, you're wrong. You got to trade Smart. What are you guys saying? Blah, blah, blah. This is how I see the game. I think that he wants to be the guy. That played October, November, December.
Yeah,
and that's what he wants.
He says that all the time too. It's and you can just see it out there. He looks like he's just having so much fun when he's just dishing and diming everywhere. It just looks like he's having a great time. Kind of running the show. Ooh, I'm gonna. It's just it's very clearly what he likes. He's talked hundreds of times over the course of his career how I'm a point guard. It's it's very pointed. The Celtics have not always allowed him to be the point guard because they had Kyrie, because they had Isaiah Thomas, because they had Kemba Walker, all the stuff. We've talked about this 100 times, but he's talked about it 100 times, and he's right. He hasn't always been able to be the team's point guard. So, here we are.
Let him be the point guard.
Let him be the point guard.
Let him be the point guard.
Or trade him. Just do one of the two.
Yeah. No, right. I just personally, I loved the style of basketball that they played October, November, December.
Totally.
That was the best offensive basketball that we saw out of the Celtics. I want to see that style of play.
Yep.
That's Marcus Smart. That's Marcus Smart at the helm. Tom, thank you so much hopping on.
Appreciate you.
As always, appreciate you, my friend. And I appreciate you all listening, you everydayers who are here Monday through Friday with me. Thank you so, so much for still being here. The offseason rolls on, but we're here Monday through Friday, giving you podcasts, talking about we're in full offseason mode now. So we'll see whatever things pop up. We'll talk about them, and then we'll just continue our breakdowns of individual players and what we can expect. Next week, we'll get into guys like Al Horford. We'll finish off our starting lineup. We'll go to Derek White. We'll do all that. So make sure you are subscribed wherever you get your podcasts. Watch the show on YouTube. Hop into the comments section. Pro smart, anti-smart, whichever it is. Let me know what you think. And I would love it if you shared the podcast. Tell your friends. Tell your family. Tell everybody. They should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.